All right, shalom, shalom. I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory
to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushua, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash.
Yeah, in the ancient Hebrew tongue, those will be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His only begotten Son, and the Holy Spirit. Also, I'd like to give double honors to our teachers, the head apostles and elders, the great millstone. Shalom to you brothers out there laboring in His work. And as always, the believers, the ICAM as well as the Aqua, those of you brothers and sisters out there that subscribe to the truth as well. So, welcome to another installment of As Foretold in the Scriptures. All right, which this is the 99th installment. We're closing in on the 100th installment, right? Is it the 99th? Oh, I want to make sure, yeah. And it's getting quicker and quicker, and we use this as a gauge, so to speak, a measuring stick. Besides the obvious, the processes, which serves as the ultimate, measuring stick or gauge, if you will, in which we measure where we at in this process, right? And everything's going according to plan. Everything's right on schedule, as foretold in the scriptures, right? Matter of fact, can we get Luke, the 21st chapter? Right? You know where to start. Anybody got something, you can bring it up. But we're in a time where the Lord is making good on His promises, all right? The Lord has sworn in His vengeance to take down Esau, that indignation, that righteous anger, because the Lord is justified in taking His man out of power. Seeing that He destroyed the planet Earth, we can hold that on deck. Revelation 11 chapter. His offenses is great, which mount up to the heavens, man. Hey, even literally, in some senses. Because this devil has his space stations. They actually have debris. They pissing and shitting out in a potato chip bag.
Weaponizing space.
Yeah, weaponizing space. His fingerprints has extended all throughout, the planet Earth and beyond, pretty much. That's where you're going to get that war in heaven, too. Lord we'll get into that. All right, so come on.
This is the book of St. Luke, chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars.
Yeah, and that's been apparent, over the last so many 20, 30 odd years, but even more so in the last 5 to 10 years, in the last months. There's been a heavy presence of so-called UFOs. That's a form of the signs in the heavens and the stars and the moon, but also, the different cycles of the moon. You had the red moon, the blood moon. I believe we're closing in on another, what is it?
Dark moon or something.
Yeah. It's like an eclipse or something like that. Right? So there has been, you got it?
Yeah, brother's right. It said, red black moon solar eclipse takes bite out of sun over South America yesterday.
Yep. So that shows that the scriptures is on point. Scriptures are spot on. This is an accurate assessment of the things that would play out for ultimately, the return of our Lord Yahushua. So there's signs in the moon, the stars. Okay? All right, come on.
It says, and upon...
Salakia. The different alignments of the constellations. It was one... Did you see that? When you saw all the planets? The moon, Venus. Yeah, the spirit, yeah. You was thinking that? That's spirit. Yeah, that's what... This is, the spirit makes it come out. But, I was watching that myself. Yeah, where they have all the planets aligned and showed up in the sky, man. And it happened so quick. They didn't really have a chance to, promote it. Sometimes you have a 24-hour window. Tomorrow, if you look out to at 5 o'clock, but this kind of suddenly, all right, come on.
It says, and upon the earth.
Right. Oh, so it won't only be signs in the heavens, it's touching the things that we mentioned, but also signs upon the earth. All right. The prophecies is blossoming. They come into life. Oh, that's the animation. The Lord spoke it. It's equivalent to lights, camera, action from the director. And what happens, the scene unfolds. So that's where we at in this process. Things is happening. Oh, okay, you got it? Come on.
It says 4 planets line up like ducks in a row, a glorious night sky image. So it says Jupiter, Venus, Mars, and Saturn, plus the moon line up.
Yeah. So the only way one can make sense of this can't be explained away by your science. No, we can go into the Holy Scriptures, which the brother just read. Which those signs in the heaven serves as a token, if you will, that the king is on the way. Did not that happen? You remember when Yahushua was born, even though we know that was a chariot, but it was a sign in the heaven. So now you have signs in the heavens as well. The stars, constellations lining up and aligning in such a way where it gives off an image here on the planet Earth for us to consider. But not to mention also the UFO sightings. Man, that's been ramped up over the last maybe since 2000 when we had a lot of, that was really around the time but not even just, I said around 2006, 2007.
When them cell phones started coming.
Yes.
Everybody got video.
When you got video and you was able to present it globally.
Yeah, post it on YouTube.
You was able, that was all set up in the spirit. So now from that time to now, it has intensified. You see it all the time. And it provoked the Pentagon to come out. Remember, the Pentagon came out and said, we're going to finally disclose.
Yeah.
And they didn't give you shit. Everything they gave you, it was blacked out. It was paragraphs blacked out.
Right.
Then they're going to some bullshit. Yeah, and this satellite was created in 1993. Fuck up, man. We want to know what you saw, man.
Why you ain't
I said, why the Pentagon got to
That's it,
Why the Pentagon got to release the file? That lets you know that's an active war, man.
Right.
That's the war in heaven,
yeah.
Why the Pentagon was given the task of reporting that?
Yeah, they supposed to be watching over the enemy. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Right.
Okay.
But they said that Pentagon lets you know it's going into war, man. This nigga ain't going to the satellite, going up there just to look at the stars. You nigga putting weapons out there.
Yep.
That
goes into Obadiah. Though I said thy nest. Matter of fact, somebody get that on deck. And can we look up that Barak? Let's pull that up real quick.
Oh, man. America's still going with that lie that they've been to the moon.
Yeah.
So where was all the sightings when y'all went to the moon? Y'all brought video cameras all the way up to the moon and filmed the moon man walking, right? Because we know that's a lie, man. That's part of American heritage, man. It's BS.
Man,
it's not the truth. They want you to believe that to make them feel superior. Once again, it's a trick on your mind, right? But they never made it past that Van Allen belt, right? But they Hollywood staged that whole moon landing. Ain't been back since. I was in the 1960s.
Right.
They say that they say the process and speed of all the Houston and NASA back then, you got more processing speed on your phone than they had in all the computers that moved that whole industry in the 60s. Yep. But they made it to the moon.
Right.
And and where was the Cherry site? Y'all seen them the whole time.
They should be on Venus.
They should have been swinging around, man. Right? Yeah. They should have held the camera for you. You should have been right. But because it's way too many lies. That's what Apostle Gabar always brings out. Oh, what a tangled web you weave.
Yeah.
we begin, how's it go? When we begin to deceive,
See, yes,
you just your web of lies is just crazy now, man.
They had the flag waving. It's on aerospace.
Yep.
Back is a vacuum. Right?
Yeah. Exactly what it is.
It's the book of Obadiah 1 and verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars.
Yep. And they said they nest among the stars. Like the brother just mentioned, different satellites and such. But really that nest goes into Esau's instincts, because his nest, if you're a criminal, your house laid out with choppers, if you're a grinding nigga, your nest, your comfort zone, right, is tobacco guts, and choppers and pistols. So Esau's nest consists of weaponry. When the scripture speaks about him setting his nest among the stars, that goes into his weaponry. Matter of fact, let's go into that.
This is the Merriam-Webster dictionary.com.
Hey, the apostles always stress, you got to know your words. Hey, that goes into Proverbs, the first chapter. I will make known my words unto you. Because we don't just read the scripture, we go into it, we dig into it, seeing that these are treasures, right? They have to be sought out. You dig into it, and the Lord, you seek and you find. The Lord revealed it to you. So that word nest, it has a spiritual overtone that comes with it, right? It's concerning also the so-called white man's, his makeup, his presence, and his blessing. All right, come on, I'll read that again.
The word nest from the Merriam-Webster dictionary.com, and I'm gonna jump down to the sixth definition, and it reads, an emplaced group of weapons.
Yep, read that again, huh?
An emplaced group of weapons.
An emplaced group of weapons. So this devil actually has weapons anticipating the return of Yahushua. That's where you get your war in heaven. These devils waging war against the Lamb. Somebody hold that on that. Anybody got something? Let's get that. Can we pull up the branches, the military branches of Esau? Let's prove through the spirit where. Let's prove that Esau's military prowess extends even to the heavens. Once again, proving that the Bible reigns supreme. This is the most powerful book on the planet Earth. It goes into detail. It goes into a vivid illustration of who will be in power, his attributes, if you will, how he will come into power, his pursuit to power, right? And so on and so forth. All right, come on.
From military.com, the branches of the military is Army, Navy, Marines, the Coast Guard, Air Force, and the Space Force.
Yeah, you can run back through that.
So the military branches of the military are the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard.
Right, yep. So you know about, the Navy, the Marines. I don't know if it mentioned the Army, right? Then you have the Coast Guard. That's a branch. Go ahead.
It says Air Force and Space Force.
Air Force and Space Force. What the hell are you doing with a Space Force? We know why you got a Space Force. Because Yahweh signed the angels in the return, the prophecies, man. See, these devils, they have been briefed as well. All right? The Lord raised up the prophets in the fulfillment of Amos, the 3rd chapter, where his secrets will be revealed to the prophets, but they will in turn convey it to the believers. And guess what? Esau caught wind of that. Now we know that when you read Psalms, the 23rd chapter. Thou prepares a table before thine enemies, in the sight of thy enemies, something along those lines. So here we are in this feast. In the midst of the feast, the enemies watch. And they taking us serious. You got Israel, they make mockery, they take us as a joke. That's the 2nd Chronicles. They mock the prophets. We go into the word mock, it goes into joke. But guess who take us serious? The elites, those who govern, who rule, who have seized control of the resources of the planet Earth, all right, who have been given dominion over the planet Earth. They take us serious.
You had a guy on C-SPAN, or he was the head of something, either NSA but he speak on, Joe Biden just passed a law talking about any disinformation, we gonna get it. We gonna come down on them. We allowed to take out disinformation off the web, because that's what they talking about. They ain't talking about disinformation in your churches, at your school, because they can push all the disinformation they want there, but they talking about on the web, online, cyber warfare and whatnot. So Esau is realizing that, well, this truth is spreading online faster than it's spreading everywhere else, right? This truth is like a wildfire right now,
right?
You got vocab losing his mind. He's trying to count how many Hebrew Israelites is waking up, but the dude on C-SPAN, he damn near saying that anybody who is promoting anti-government ways, anybody that promotes kind of like a serious mindset, or a militant, so-called militant mindset, or that type of logic, what they call us, like a radicalism. Mm-hmm. They gonna come down on people like that. Well, that's anybody that promotes the Bible in its true form, along with the prophecies in it. The prophecies condemn this place. How you supposed to be with the scriptures? And that's why a lot of the apostles had come to odds with the Romans and the different men ruling at that time, like the high priest at that time. That's why Yahushua went through what he went through with the high priests and the Sadducees, the wicked Pharisees, because they was all about promoting whatever the Romans wanted, being in good graces, taking a back seat, doing whatever pleased they fathers, the Romans, not saying nothing too crazy. All right, staying in your place, playing your role. When the men of the Lord, they was doing the opposite. Peter was saying, look, am I supposed to serve men or serve the Most High, man? I'm going to serve the Most High. And he calls for us to go out here and condemn. He calls for us to go out here and curse, right? He calls for us to go out there and prophesy things that our own people don't want to hear, man. Including the destruction of this place, America.
What the scripture said, whether they're here or for bear.
Yeah. They're stiff-necked people, man. Mm-hmm. More importantly, we prophesying to Israel. The other nation's gonna get their prophecies too, because everything's written in the scriptures. Why else would you go to another book? Right. Here it is. Every single nation has their own lot in judgment to come, and we're supposed to turn a blind eye to that. That's every answer we've been looking for. Concerning what is to concern me in the future. When I go in the job interview, they asking me, where you see yourself in 10 years? Where you see yourself in 25 years? They've been asking us this for years, man. And what we supposed to give them? A good answer. Because if we just say, I don't know, I mean, shit, I ain't there yet. I mean, if I get the job, it depends. No, you can't answer like that. You're supposed to be like, well, I see myself with 2 children and a white picket fence and a house and a cottage somewhere and excelling at this company, right? You're supposed to give them a whole far-fetched dream, right? But that's okay. But when we talking about what the Lord got to come in these scriptures, now we're domestic terrorism, or we over the edge and too crazy with it, tone it down a notch. Where's the hate? These hate groups, Now we can consider how the apostles and the prophets of old fell, because we catching the same affliction. Got it.
Real quick. And it just showed that they hate Yahushua. You know, when this
Oh,
word
yeah.
go forth,
Big
in
time.
St. John 7:7, it said the world cannot hate you, but me it hate them, because I testify of it that the worst thereof are evil.
And there's another scripture say if they hated you, they hated me first. Yahushua knew that. He knew what he was sending his men out to do. He was sending I was sending you sheep amongst wolves. Be as wise as serpents and harmless as doves. He knew how he was sending us out here. He said, look, you know, you go to a city and they don't want to hear you. You wipe your feet on that city. You don't deal with these niggas, right? Try to force. You bring the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. You wipe the dust off your feet and you turn and go your other way. You know, that's why this is a duty. This is an obligation. It's a job. If it wasn't, we try to retire already. Well, I'm gonna hang it up. You know, I put a good 5 years in here. Hope the Lord remember me. Nah, man, you got to continue. He that endureth until the end shall be saved, man. Now we got a lifelong decision, obligation. And it's a duty, it's a job. Just like they got the Coast Guards and the Marines and the Navy that brothers bring out. Yo, they expected to do their job until the end. Until they ain't got nothing left in the chamber. And even then, they got to throw it down, pull out the knife, put it in their mouth, go in the water, throw a grenade. Right? So they expected to go all out. The Lord required his men out here. We a spiritual army. He said, you got the helmet of salvation, you got breastplate of hope and faith, and the weapons of our warfare not carnal. So we out there fighting, swinging these battle axes, which is the spiritual swords, which is this word, which the Yahushua is the word. You know, so it got to be brought out, man, right before his return. That's what John the Baptist was set up for.
Yep. The
forerunner to Yahushua, and then Yahushua came. He said, I come not to testify, I'm not the light. You know, basically, he wasn't the light. He didn't, you know, but the light was
bear witness.
Yeah, he bear witness of the light. Yeah.
The true light.
The true light, man. Because you got all type of like Illuminati. Yeah. These is a bunch of Edomites calling themselves the light and the light ones, man. Right. So they got the left-hand side knowledge, which lead into dark, which is darkness, man. That's not the true light. The true light is Yahushua, because Yahushua is the Savior. That's his name. He saves. He's the Savior. So he's coming to save his people, the elect of Israel. And we're not supposed to be worked up in that spirit. The Lord said, you know, I anointed them in the spirit. The spirit, you know, I arise. He told Paul, arise and go and teach. Right? So he gonna give you his spirit, man. The spirit of truth. To go and teach and be a light. Got that.
Yeah, that was
got something real quick. Okay. It's Galatians 4:16. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?
Yep. And it just proves that's how Yahushua, he's the separator, man. You know, once his word is on display, it divides the sheep from the goat, pretty much, man. So when the truth is on display, you reject it, you are an enemy of Yahushua, man. You don't want him to reign over you, man. You know? But once it's on display, that's what proves pretty much what kind of ground you is. You know, the good ground or the wayside or the stony ground. You know, but that's how that separating is being made by the way this word is being on display, man. You know, so his enemies are being the hand is finding out the enemies by the way this word coming out. You know,
the light.
Yep, the light. Yep. See.
Galatians 4:16. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?
So the truth was shaking things up. Was really that what makes you take sides, man. And what proves you want to be in America or not, ultimately, once his word is on display.
Yeah, it's that proverbial line in the sand. Like what it said, it's that door. Yahweh Shai, the word. Matter of fact, get that. What's that? St. John 7, I think around the 43rd verse or something like that.
The St. John chapter.
And the truth hurts. That's a true saying. That's why the scriptures say, I have hewn them by the mouth of the prophets. Right? Thou are my battle axe. Like the elder mentioned earlier, that suit, the helmet of salvation, that breastplate, yeah, sword of the spirit. That sword was set up to, inflict harm. Or what's that? Proverbs, is it 18? A wounded spirit, who can bear? So that spirit is wounded. The spirit is wounded by a spiritual weapon, the spiritual sword.
Right.
So it's going to make an impact. That's why the Apostle Paul said, "Be not as one that beateth the air." So this word, when presented properly, it affects. It accomplishes what it was set out to do.
It moves some, and then it it destroys others. But it's gonna move you one way or another. It's gonna move you to anger and spite, right? Because even Yahweh Shah, man, who Yahweh Shah beat up when he was on the scene? Who he slapped and killed when he was on the scene? Nobody. But they were so enraged about what was coming out of his mouth that they said, crucify him, man.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Free this man who's a murderer and crucify the Lord.
I got some real quick. When you said the word to shake things up.
Oh, can I say too? Because he made that point. Y'all mentioned it. But the world cannot hate you because it hated me first. It wasn't based upon a violent campaign. He was just speaking words. It proves the power that comes with this word, man. That's why Esau is signed. This nigga coming up with legislation to justify waging war against us. Simply because we told you the truth. That's why the scripture says, "Allah becomes thy enemy." They're quiet.
This is Acts 7, verse 54. When they heard these things, they were cut to the heart, and they gnashed upon him with their teeth. So they said that's what this word do. But we always cut in the spirit, but your reaction to the cut is going to really pretty much determine your fate, man.
Blessed he is not offended in me.
Yeah, that's it. They said that will move them to despise, because they was cut, man. They didn't acknowledge your offense, but ultimately it shake things up when this word is on display and it finds out who's the enemy of Yahweh Shai. Oh, I got that. The St. John 7:43. It says, "So there was a division among the people because of him."
Because of who? Yahweh Shai. So his very presence brings division. It's heavy. Even when you go to the crucifixion of Yahweh Shai, he was in between the two male factors. And the male factors got into a shaman. They got into an argument with each other over Yahweh Shai. Remember one said, the one guy said, "Save us and yourself," and the other one on the right hand went in on him. So it was a dispute even on the cross, man. And who was between the both of them? Who was in the middle of it all? Yahweh Shai. So that proves that he's the sword. He brings division, man. He's the wedge. He's the door. So whenever that spirit goes out on the planet Earth, which right now is in full effect, man. You got brothers in all these different cities, these major cities throughout Babylon, all throughout the world for that matter. These altars set up, and pretty much making sacrifices, pushing forth the word of Yahweh Shai. The testimony, man. And that's shaking things up. See? What's that? Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter? The knowledge of the glory of the Lord shall fill the earth, man. So that's why the earth, that's why you see this heavy spirit of unease and restlessness on the planet Earth. Everybody's pretty much stirred up in the spirit. I remember at camp, they was out there in that spirit of mirth, and the cops stormed up and said, "Get the fuck out," you know. That's the spirit, man. All right? That's what's on the planet Earth right now. And the spirit of resistance. That's because the word is going forth. Everything is stirred up. Oh, matter of fact, let's go back to Luke 21. And I know y'all going, we'll get back to that, what you got in Wikipedia. And if the spirit allow, we're going to a little information. And as always, through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shema Shah, filtering through the scriptures. Because again, that's the time we're in, right? We're in a time where the things written and foretold to come to pass here in the latter days is amongst us. You'll be hard pressed to find someone who just, remember back in the days, motherfucker had the confidence to make a parody video, with the chip, and you'll be hard pressed to find it. Now, if you see somebody coming up against it, it's a feeble attempt to, question our validity. It might just be a crazy video questioning you about certain things, but the more sophisticated scoffers, if you will, they have ceased, so to speak, because they really can't combat. Because you know why? The prophecies will eventually speak. It'll come to pass. That's why Yahweh Shai said in Matthew 24th chapter, when you shall see the fig tree begin to bud forth. See, at some point you see it. The seed starts off hidden, but then eventually it sprouts out of the ground for everybody to see. That happened in the old world with Noah. It was the point where the rain, nigga was talking shit about Noah, and a raindrop came down on him. All right, come on. He caught him right in the middle of his conversation. He talking shit, Noah with all this rain shit, and what is that,
I think it was Ezra that spoke about how the end of the world is going to be like a woman pregnant and travail, and after a certain amount of time, that baby got to come.
You got to come out.
Crowning.
Yep.
Yeah.
No reversing that process. And what to say in the second, birth pains can pass her. That's where we at. The birth pains, the contractions, so to speak, is right behind each other. So much so you can't keep up with everything. All this information that's going out. It was a time where you like, oh shit, something happened, and brothers will be talking about it for a week.
Topic of the week.
Topic of the week. Now it's just
topic of the hour.
Yeah, brothers sending in a chat. Oh, you heard about that? Oh, they test out a missile. Man, a while back, that brothers have a part 2. Satan.
Part 2.
Yeah, part 2. Yeah, the same 2. Part 2. Hypersonic missile. Now it's happening so quick. That's those birth pains. Contractions. Yep.
Coming back, it's back to back.
Back to back. So now you know that the deliverance is close. Yep. Come on.
St. Luke 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth.
Yep.
Distress of nations with perplexity.
Yeah, that's what's happening on the planet Earth. The heavy spirit of stress, the nations are distressed with perplexity. Oh, they commit suicide out there in Shanghai due to the lockdown. Yeah. The cameras in the lobby of these different condominiums and apartments, motherfuckers hanging in the lobby, they hung themselves, motherfuckers jumping out of their window. That's the scriptures coming to life. Oh, that's the animation we talk about, man. The Lord spoke it as it is written, so shall it be. So it was spoken, now you see the scriptures coming to life. Yahweh Shai said that there would be a heavy spirit of perplexity on the planet Earth before his return. Come on,
The sea and the waves roaring.
right, which is a metaphor for the people. That spirit of unease, the sea and the wave roaring, man. Well,
Men's heart failing them for fear.
Yep, men's hearts failing them, man.
And for looking after those things which are coming on earth, for the powers of the heaven shall be shaken.
Yep. Go ahead.
I got something.
Yeah, come on, then we'll go back.
This is
Hey, it's a heavy spirit of fear. overwhelming spirit of fear is going to grip. You people going to be frozen with fear in this drama as well. You're not going to, how you know how Esau try to make these movies where you have these heroic Edomites, and he have a damsel with him, and he making it through. He's that resisting force to get through it all. No, the scriptures tell you mighty men. Or what is this? I see men with their.
Yeah,
That what you got?
Yeah,
oh, that's the spirit. Come on.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 5. But thus said the Lord, Yahweh Shai, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace.
Mm-hmm.
As ye now and see, whether a man doth travail with child.
Yeah, you see a woman holding her stomach and seeing travail. That's going to be the state of these men. Go ahead.
Wherefore do I
because fear too. You ever been genuinely scared? Like, you get that knot in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a very intense spirit of fear that's going to cause men to hold their stomach, man. Go ahead.
It says, wherefore do I see every man in his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
Right, that's going to be because Israel are going to feel the brunt of this. Before the destruction, which is meant to overthrow Esau. But the scourge that the Lord's going to send, right? A lot of you Israelites are going to succumb to that because why? You didn't hearken, you didn't yield. Remember, Proverbs, the first chapter. When that calamities come, I should laugh at that calamities. When your fear coming as a whirlwind. All right, come on.
It says, but he shall be saved out of it.
Right, and that he that will be saved out of it is concerning the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, so come on.
This is St. Luke 21, verse 27. It says, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud.
See, so you see what all of this is the build up to Yahweh Shai, his return. So if your anticipation is for Yahweh Shai to return, right? Well, you have to prepare for the things that's going to precede that. Come on.
So, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with power and great glory.
Mm-hmm.
And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption drawing nigh.
Right. And that redemption actually goes hand in hand with Yahweh Shai himself being the Redeemer. So as we see the prophecies unfold, we know that our redemption drawing nigh, meaning Yahweh Shai. Which, you know what's heavy about that? Yahweh Shai going to be met with a heavy form of resistance. And that's why the brother brought out that military branch. You can run back through that again now. And I want to get that info the brother got. All right, come on.
These are the military branches. It says, Air Force, Space Force, the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, and the Marines. It says military branch, also service branch, also armed branch. It says the Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, the Marines, the Navy, and the Space Force.
Yep, and the Space Force. So again, you have to ask yourself, why do Esau have a Space Force? Because he's anticipating the return of Yahweh Shai as well. But his instincts, right? Remember, what's his blessing? The sword. His instincts is to wage war against our Lord. Let's hold that. What's that, Revelation 17? Before we get that, you can bring out that info.
Yeah, Khan, this is from Newsbreak. It says, amid tensions on Earth, the United States claims that conflict in space is not inevitable. It says, in 1996, Joseph W. Ashley, former U.S. Commander-in-Chief, other North American Aerospace Defense Command, famously said, we're going to fight in space.
Yep, we're going to fight in space.
Yep, it says we're going to fight in space, from space, and we're going to fight into space.
Fighting into space.
And fight in space.
Yeah. But when you look at America, like all the way back from the great hoax, I forget in the early parts of America before the glory days, that great hoax they had on the radio station before TV. That's what they always taught the Americans. That one day that the aliens was gonna come out of the sky,
Right.
to take over the planet, and we all must come as one to defend humanity. They taught every generation that because they knew that Yahushua was on his way back.
Yeah. The first War of the Worlds movie.
Right. Exactly.
That was back in the
Exactly.
60s,
Yeah, exactly.
50s.
When Mars attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I forget the year that the great hoax happened.
Right, where they thought it was a real invasion.
Right. Because there was no visual.
Right.
You know, you can only go by radio. So
They show you down in the Twilight Zone. Remember that invasion? Did y'all remember they thought it was the little boy? All the Edomites, they thought every neighbor was. Yeah, the little boy had the comic book.
Yeah.
And them little boys, in that time, that's your gates. Oh, they show you in Back in the Future.
And you turn around.
Remember in Back to the Future where he went back in time and he was in the car and he had on the what suit you call it? Like a lab suit.
Like a hazmat suit.
Yeah, that's what they had on. And he went and he crashed into the barn back in the 60s. And it woke everybody up. They came out there and shit at the weapon. And the doors opened up on the car. And they thought it was a spaceship. He got out with the uniform. Now remember, he was coming from the 80s. He was time traveling. And the little boy, it was a little Edomite boy, said no. He had the magazine. He said no, it's an alien.
Comic book.
Yeah, the comic book. So all those little devils back then is your scientists and shit now. Like old, scientists. So they anticipate the return of Yahushua, man. The 60s, like you said, there was a heavy spirit of an invasion from outer space. Little green men, but they get that from what's that? Isaiah going to the color of that barrel.
Yeah.
All right, come on.
Yeah, continue reading on. It says, no wonder there are many concerns about the potential of war in space, but the belief in the inevitability of space becoming the next major battlefield runs a risk of becoming, as space law expert Stephen Freeland writes, quote, a self-fulfilling prophecy if care and restraint is not exercised.
Yeah, so they anticipate the return of Yahushua, man. They're not going to tell you that. And because the spirit of Yahushua, really the ghost of Yahushua hunt Esau. That's why they setting up a form of resistance. Matter of fact, let's go into the scriptures. Go to, did you have anything else on that?
Nah, that was pretty much it.
Come, let's go to Revelation 17th chapter. Now, what we have done through the spirit, if for nothing else, we have proven reasonable doubt in the fact that when we go into the prophetic sayings of the scriptures, especially as touching the return of Yahushua, that war in heaven and these, forms of teachings that might come across as strange, well, we can filter it through information, man. Esau actually entertaining the idea of war in the heavens. They saying that that's a potential battleground. Now, no matter how they pitch it, they can say, hey, it'll be us against the rest. It don't matter how they might try to pitch it. We know that in its perfection, it's going to be played out in the form of Satan and his angels versus Yahushua and the host of heavens. All right, come on.
This is the book of Revelation 17.
Get all the meat you get.
Verse. Let's see. I started at 12. It said, "In the 10 horns which thou hast saw us are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Mm-hmm.
These have one mind."
Yep, and that's dealing with NATO, this conglomerate of nations, which when you go into the history, they started off as I think it was 12. It was 12 nations, but 2 of them was interchangeable. I forget exactly which ones it was. I don't know if it was Germany and in the modern time, the 10 nations were the EU and UN started, but they was broken up into like 24 countries now. Yep, come on.
It says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings went out with the beast.
Yep.
These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb.
See, these shall make war with the Lamb, man. Which when you read 2nd Ezra, what's that? 2nd Ezra 13, you got that.
Yeah, I got it.
It goes into a vivid illustration of that war. Right? It goes into detail. Matter of fact, let's read a little to that since you already got it on deck.
2nd Ezra chapter 13, in verse 3, it says, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven.
Hey, and to some degree, on some levels, that war in heaven already has started. It's different skirmishes. It's actually footage of these conglomerates of nations shooting that UFO they missing.
Yep.
Remember the one video where the chariot came out of the water, the Air Force was chasing them?
Playing with them.
Yep. Now the scripture goes into Satan and his angels fighting against the Lord and his angels. They actually call those planes angels. Yep. Yeah, the blue angels and different. Come on.
It says, and behold, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him.
See, that was seen under him. That's concerning the return of Yahushua. Now we go into what's that? Philippians, the 2nd chapter. Speaks about everything bowing unto him. Also, Isaiah 52 is it? Yep. Revelation the 1st chapter. Yep. And also in Revelation the 1st chapter, it talks about how they wailed. They wailed because of him. That's that bitter cry. Why? Because Yahushua is going to come wreaking havoc. Remember, the destruction is also going to come from that brand of fire from the angels. Remember what Yahushua said that. What if it already be killed? All right, come on. Come on.
Got something for you real quick. Isaiah 66:15.
That's it.
For behold, the Lord will come with fire.
Yeah, so the Lord was going to come with fire, man. All right, go ahead.
And his chariots like a whirlwind.
Right, so that's those laser beams, man. Concentrated beams of fire.
Yeah.
The Lord made a statement, if I'm not mistaken, in Luke. Will I, if it already be coming?
Yeah, we just that. No, we just mentioned it though. That's good, yeah.
Right. You're gonna have all type of fires upon the earth. Not just a physical fire. It's gonna be anarchy, uproars, all of that.
And everything ain't got to be one day either.
No.
That's why I see Jake got to open up there.
5 years.
Yeah, 5 years. And that's already happening.
Yeah.
It's already been fires. You think it's going to be in one day, 9 that morning, you got a schedule. That motherfucker have a, you know what I mean? The opening act at 9 that morning going to be a fire, going to be a riot. Then by 12, going to be then the destruction at 3 and Yahushua be there about. No, it's a build-up. That's fire from different times, even the different wars. You're going all the way back. All right? That's that fire that kindles the earth. But there's going to be a fire that's going to burn longer than those fires, and that's going to be the destruction. That fire going to be the fire that's going to burn longer than any of those other fires we mentioned. All right, come on.
It says to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire.
And that's how the Lord gonna rebuke you. with flames of fire. Yep. Come on, there's it on it.
On one more verse.
Come on.
It says, "For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh." And
Right. Which that word plead, when you look it up in the Hebrew, that word there's you have to go to the judge. Shapat. What?
And the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Right. So the Lord going to plead, or they're going to that Mashapayim, that judgment is going to come down. You know, that's how he's going to plead. That don't mean the Lord's going to say, plead. You know, in the carnal sense, you hear somebody pleading, then you know your perception is somebody saying, "Please, man, let's sit down and talk about this." Now, that's plead. No, that's how that scripture says. This is how the Lord going to judge your ass. Yep. That's heavy. When you go to Daniel 3rd chapter, we went into that earlier. When you go into that furnace, it goes into God's anger. You go into the root word for that furnace. So that's the judgment. Fire is set up as the judgment, man. The highest level of judgment. That's why it's that unquenchable fire. That everlasting fire. That's really, somebody see everlasting and they think that that's like forever. See, you're going to be in hell forever, though. Everlasting goes with levels. That's the highest form of fire, man. Like, even at the intensity of it burning, that hissing. Like, come on.
I got something real quick. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 63, verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength.
That's what that's talking about. The great day of the Most High, which is when Yahweh shall come and fulfill Isaiah 47 chapter, man. Not meeting this world as he left, not meeting this world as a man, meeting this world as that super angelical power riding upon that huge fathership, man, stunned in all of his glory, man. You know,
pretty much. The Lord gonna be stunned, man. He's gonna come back in his glory. Yeah. Gonna be the highest form of stun, yeah.
Touching not down mind anointed too. So to make it delivering all his elect.
Yeah.
Wishing he would lay a finger on it.
Right. Matthew 24. It says, "Send forth his angels, gather his elect from all four winds."
That's right.
It's gonna take power to do that, man. And Yahweh Shai gonna be coming with all that power. He's gonna be in his glorified state. You know?
Yeah, that's the apex of the movie.
Hey, you know what? Since like 2008, I want to say it's been a lot of, maybe really 2013. It's been a lot of those movies coming out, especially Marvel. They went in on it. Everything coming from the sky.
Yeah.
As of that, any big movie, any major movie that come out, it got to have a multiverse in it. It got to come from the sky.
Right.
It ain't coming from the ocean no more. They making it come from the sky because, you know, that's where the judgment is coming from. That's where the real judgment is coming from.
True.
You know, the other realm. And you can just imagine, because we can't imagine, you just looking up in the sky and here they come. Like you catching it right when they come and they just all, you know, coming in and they don't stop. The line just keep coming and then like birds just descending down at different levels and speeds and then that main ship, like the brother said, that father ship is sending down however speed they want to come, just hovering. And Esau just scrambling fighter jets trying to, and the laser beam just hit.
Scriptures going to that. Somebody was just tapping to the list and I saw some crazy guys. The Bible talking about but the scriptures, the brother just gave you an illustration of what the scriptures say. Because Esau gonna be compelled to fight. That's why that military they have set up, that branch with the brother read, right? Who do you think that's set up for? The Space Force.
Right.
To the naked eye, it seems as if that's just, you know, Esau anticipating a random attack. You know, because they be boasting too. They be entertaining the idea of shooting down asteroids, like they said, an asteroid coming toward the Earth, and one of the options is sending a arrow, or some shit, and shooting it down. That's them devils boasting. And another thing too, just to add what the brother going into about how everything coming from the sky, that showed Esau pride too, because he looking like nobody. It'll have to be something. We got everything under control here. The threat that catches our attention, what piques our interest, is somebody coming from the heaven. That's the only thing gonna get us. Damn devil. And guess what? You're gonna get your wish. The house gonna pop up with the angels, man. Like, come on. And they see it too, right? And they turn on the YouTube and the poor telling them. All right, come on. You know what? Let's start with Double Down. We'll come around. Then we'll.
I'm just gonna finish this off. It says, "I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save."
All right, come on.
Hey, that's how you want your power, mighty to save, man.
Yeah.
You know, you look at all these leaders, black leaders today. They supposed to be saving us.
Right.
They look frail as ever, man. Al Sharpton, man, Sharp Tongue.
Yeah.
You know,
You don't even got a seat on the UN, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the people so blunt. Look who in the office, man. They just got Biden shaking hands with the air, and he just walk around. They got the bunny rabbit coming to Biden and telling him, hurry up. You seen that one on Easter? They use the bunny to tell him. But everything's a joke now, man. From the leaders of America, the leaders, but the mighties is gonna come out of them clouds, man. And y'all not gonna have no answers for it, man. You know, Esau proud as hell, man. He just know he gonna defeat it because he's seen it in the movies. Independence Day, we won.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about that.
Right? Y'all put them whole production.
One to look at is Independence Day Resurrection, which is the second one to the old Independence Day. It actually shows the fathership, man. That's that part that 007 had, this huge disc traveling through space. See, they actually showed that on the new one.
Yeah.
They actually, I'm talking about really huger than our whole solar system. Right? You see what I'm saying? Not solar system, but our galaxy. Wow. Right? That's gonna be their fathership. You know what I'm saying?
And two, right? You know, and this makes sense. If it's that huge, which it is huge, and we're gonna get into that. Second Esdras, it goes into how big it is. But that means you can't see nothing but the chariot. That's it. When you look up in the sky, you know, right now,
that's it.
You can see.
That's it.
Even over to this side, to that side, you know, you can walk out and you can see.
That's it.
You know, to the far east, far away, you know.
Gonna look like
you go number the chariot. You know, that's all you're gonna see is the chariot as far as the eye can see. Right. It's not gonna be like you can see the edge of the chariot.
Where it was graded.
Yeah, what was that?
Where the hill, where the mountain was graded.
Where it was graded.
The brother was saying earlier, you know, that the crowd's gonna get sent out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the chariot it's gonna just be in the atmosphere of the earth. You know, it's just gonna be in the atmosphere of the earth, and like the other brother said, there's nowhere you ain't gonna look that you ain't gonna see it, because it's gonna be 10 times size of the earth. Yeah. Right. You know,
and it's not gonna be like you can just see the top of it. Then on the side you see some cloud. You know, you're gonna see the chariot all around, man.
Right.
As far as the eyes can see.
Once again, a great movie to watch is that Resurrection, that Independence Resurrection. That's the one to watch, because they like you said, they always come up with a scenario, just like on the day after. They always come up with the scenario that they overcame. No, it ain't gonna be a day after. You know, if the Most High sent an army, what the fuck make you think it's gonna be something after that army? You're gonna rise after that army get.
But the Lord gotta go and regroup, regalvanize the truth. That didn't work. So we're gonna do this. No, but that shows you the pride of Esau.
That's it.
See, you think in our mind we see that there's nothing, but this devil really. Oh, what's that? Isaiah 47. There is no power besides me. His inward thoughts is.
Yep.
Now the scriptures say, what the scriptures say, who shall bring me down? Mm-hmm. Why did Esau say that? That's what you got to ask yourself. Because he heard us say that he's going down. When you go into the perfection of it, that's a reaction. You know, he got the report that we're going to bring him down, and he said, nobody bringing us down. All right, this is what we're going to do. But what the Lord, they would not, the scripture say the lamb shall overcome. Matter of fact, let's go back to that Revelation 17 before we go back to what you got in 2nd Ezra 13.
Revelation 17 and verse 14, it says, these shall make war with the lamb, and the lamb shall overcome them.
See, but the lamb is going to overcome, man. So no matter what Esau draw up, no matter what his playbook has in it, he's not going to win. But really, this gives you a glimpse into the pride of Esau again. This man, he has the bravado, that spirit on him that I'm gonna take down, Yahweh. He don't know that the technology that was given him was given from Yahweh, man. The very one that gave you the sword is gonna knock it out your hand. All right, so come on.
This is Jeremiah 49, verse 22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle and spread his wings over Basra.
Right, and spread his wings over Basra, man. Chariots. Hey, that's the one entity that can trump Esau. The eagle. There's another eagle that's going to trump you. That's your shot. Go ahead.
And that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pain.
Yep. Oh, that reminded me kind of Joel too. The second chapter.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, he's going. Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. We never went into that. Yeah, at the sight of Yahweh Shai, they're gonna tremble. Scripture tell you how even the fish gonna tremble. That's it. All right, so come on, let's go back. Anybody got somebody?
I got something.
All right, come on, let's go one more, and then we'll go around.
It's Isaiah 63 and 1. Who is that coming from Edom? But down garments from Basra.
Yeah, that's the spirit, man. It came out again, man. All right. Come out one more time. When y'all say, he's on here. When y'all was spoken 3. So you can understand. This is what I'm talking about. This is what's going to happen, read again.
Who is this that coming from Edom? With dying garments from Basra.
And now, who is Yahweh Shai? Go ahead.
That is glorious in his apparel.
Yeah, glorious in his apparel. Once again, he's going to be glorified, man. He's going to be in his glorified state. All power in his hand. That's why Yahweh Shai looked past the cross, because he's seen what was for him. This moment right here that the brother read, that's the moment that Yahweh Shai waiting on, man. Go ahead.
Traveling in greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save.
Mighty to save, the Redeemer.
Yep, come on.
Good point. Even Enoch spoke of this.
Right.
So let's know this is the climax of the movie.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's the other kind.
You had that on there? You got it?
Yeah.
Jude 1 and 14, and Enoch also, the 7th from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints.
Woo, that's right. Go ahead.
He had the testimony of Yahweh Shai, man.
Right.
That's the testimony of Yahweh Shai, man. That's the climax of life, man. Return by our Lord. It's like Enoch spoke of those things. That Lord coming with the hosts of heaven.
Yep.
So he ain't coming out to pass hugs out in the sea.
Right.
Host is an army.
Yep, that's it.
That means war. What they made the end games. That's the end game right there. Esau know what they were doing. Esau know, at least know the scriptures, man. They may not understand everything, but
they listen to us.
They listen to us, man.
Spiritual. They get the prophetic aspect of the scriptures.
Right, from the prophets.
And what does this mean?
Exactly.
Hey, it's no coincidence that the top Edomites, the Amalekites, they're the heaviest things outside of us. They're the heaviest things in the scriptures.
Right.
They got so heavy in it that they tried to take the name and take the heritage and take the birthright back without anybody knowing about it. So they're gonna know what's in these scripts, but they don't got the that spiritual outside.
Right.
The carnal approach.
Yeah, they trying to predict the day and all
Yeah,
that.
right. Yeah, they always throw that out. every 2-3 years they throw it out there that the return of Christ is gonna be, you know what I'm saying, this day and that. You know what I'm saying? That's how they say Christ. You know how they say it.
And then then it's the Amalekites. They don't even believe Yahushua came already. They don't believe a Messiah came.
Yeah, that's true.
So they, in their mind, they waiting for the Messiah to come.
Right.
But at least the Edomite Christians, they believe, they understand that the
Second
Messiah
coming.
came,
Yeah.
and it's time for the second coming. But then they don't understand that the people over there ain't the real.
Right.
So they, they
Confusion.
they got that confusion. That's why they can't all get along either.
God.
Another thing is a lot of them Russians over there, they some of them is Christian, but a lot of them is Muslim too, into Islam. Because Islam ran all up in there too. That's where the Khazarian Empire was right up in there, and they had the choice between. That's why they chose to be right. They chose to be the Turks, right? Ottoman Turks. They was all into Islam. They chose to be Hebrew, take on the Israelite doctrine, the Khazarian Empire, instead of the Islam doctrine, because they were surrounded by both sides. They just chose to be, take on the customs of the Israelites, and here thousands of years later, their descendants claim to be the real Israelites. Man. That's where that more confusion comes from. But while they sitting here confused, here's all the truth right here. And it was given by the Heavenly Father in this, in the spirit, Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
Yep, but it's an angel that's blocking them. That's why they can't get it. Right in their face. You got it out.
Verse 15, it says, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
So how the Lord gonna convince them? Through the judgment, man. He didn't say
That's
it. You know.
Yeah, come on. That's one. Yeah.
It's on Jeremiah 23:19. Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is going forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievousness upon the head of the wicked.
Right. The scripture speaks about the curse that go up before the earth. Some chariots, man. The whirlwind. Right. Whirlwind cause damage, man. Whirlwind cause damage, man. So when you have a shot come with the host of heaven or the armies of heaven, it's gonna be the total destruction, man. Concentrated beams of fire. Can you imagine it to dehydrate your ass? You know what I'm saying? Making you a pup, turn to ashes. What the scripture said, the wicked shall be ashes under your feet. Malachi the 4th chapter, 3rd or the 4th verse, something like that. Go ahead, up.
Spirit ain't kind of bad.
Oh, okay, good.
So we go back to that second Ezra 13.
Second Ezra 13. And I'm going to read 4 again. It says, matter of fact, I'm going to start at 3 again. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, it says,
He waxed strong with the thousands of heavens. And when brother just read, Slacky. Enoch just prophesied. Yep, go ahead.
It says, strong with the thousands of heaven, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him.
And that proved that there's going to be an aerial, attack. The Lord's going to be hovering over you people, man. He said all that seen him, they're going to tremble that was seen under him. They don't tremble at your house. Come on.
Verse 4 says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice.
Yeah, man, and the Lord commanded. He was commanding for zap him. Go ahead.
It says, like as the earth felleth when it filleth the fire.
Yep, go ahead.
It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the earth to subdue the man that came out of the sea.
Right, and that sea is dealing with the heavens. Right, the Shemayim. So they're gonna, that shows you the pride of Esau. They're gonna look to subdue Yahweh. Yep, go ahead.
It says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it.
Yeah, and that's Ezra. The only way he can make sense of this.
Right.
He don't expect him to say a UFO. Right. He said a great mountain because he was trying to emphasize the size of it. You know, he was just describing it the best way he could. Yep. That great mountain. Yeah.
It says, but I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven.
Meaning he couldn't make sense of what it was. He couldn't go into what created this thing. He couldn't go to the origins of it. It was beyond him. Go ahead.
And I could not.
Yep.
And after this I beheld, and lo, all they were gathered together to subdue him.
Yeah, the Independence Day they show you.
That's it. Yep.
Go ahead.
That's it. Unlike Independence Day, they're not going to win.
Right.
It's not going to win. That's the tale of Esau. He always had this horrific counterpart, or this horrific adversary that he conquered. Remind me of Mario Brothers. You know what I'm saying? When Mario went to fight to save the princess. But see, that's really us. You see what I'm saying? That's really Howard Shah coming to save his bride from the evil man, from that dragon. You see what I'm saying? Which is Esau. It says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain. It says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. It says, verse 7, but I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet was fighting.
Yeah, and that's just like that Independence Day fight. They was afraid, but they were just they were fighting. You know? But the Lord gonna put that spirit on these devils to fight in effort to fulfill biblical prophecy.
They're gonna get prouder too, because they're gonna start coming out with more technology.
Yeah.
You know, the main thing they trying to push right now is AI. AI is basically having computers think smarter than the human brain.
Right.
So they're gonna say, well, if we can't think of a way to destroy the Lord, we're gonna use our technology. It's gonna come up with our idea. So a lot of what is gonna happen, and that, I mean, the future, as they've been saying, Esau's been believing since we was kids, putting it in movies like the Jetsons. It's trying to be robotics, like you have automatize everything. You know, your car drives you. You know,
cyborgs.
Right. Hey, cyborgs. Yeah, half man, half. They know that they gotta advance the race of humans. Yeah, Iron Man.
That's who this nigga end up taking the glove off.
Thanos.
Yeah.
And that's all I've been thinking about. Thanos.
Yeah,
that was a form of that. You know, because he was a god. You know.
At one point, he had one man, or some people on this side and some people on that side.
Right. That's it.
That's how it's going. It's going to be a similar scene when the Lord come back. They got that from the scriptures.
Right.
The right hand, you know, certain men on the right, the righteous on the right hand side. And there's going to be the great division in that day.
His Thanos' son was Ebony Maw. That little funny looking dude. His name was Ebony Maw. Yeah, they were Ebony. Go back to. Dark or something like that, right? Yeah. So like brother said, they know, yeah, that's his son, and that crazy looking guy, like Ebony Maw. Yeah, making shit move,
That remind me of
and he was dramatic too. He was the spokesman for Thanos.
That's it.
Like, you know, he always comes and said,
"Now,
children, you die and honor your measly lives."
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was He said
It's
like
an honor for you to die.
under the hand of Thanos.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan and Mark, you go and check them out and check their character out.
Going back to what the brother said, what Paul said about the AI situation, and they actually going to do that, but it goes back to Star Trek: The Next Generation, to the Borg. Remember the Borg?
Yeah, that was like what's that? The simulation. I remember the simulation.
Right. Well, you remember
The Borg? That was the top guy. Like they
Yeah.
tried to sound like he was the most high or something.
Not
Which one was that?
The Borg, the race of the Borg. The Borg was humans / robots.
No, I'm thinking about that guy who
was Q.
Okay,
Q. Right. But the Borg was, remember they ships was Q.
That's Omega at the end. Q.
Right.
Yeah, Q sent them to the board.
Yeah, Q sent them to the board. That's why
Exactly.
That's the source of it. He sent them,
But the Borg
he led them into destruction.
Right. But see, the Borg is going to be like what they're trying to do now. They're trying to take a human and make them an android, or a cyborg, meaning human, / robot. And if you look at the Borg, that's going to be what they're going to send out to try to fight against the angels in Yahweh. They're still going to lose because, the Most High through Yahweh gave them that idea to create.
And the Lord giving them a little time to get that off the ground. Just so,
Trying to make it excellent.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial. Basically, they're trying to get our glory, man. Because we gonna, the Lord gonna give Israelites extraterrestrial bodies, new bodies, advanced bodies, but Esau's gonna have the same old mortal flesh body that he got right now.
Like the bionic woman and the bionic man.
Yeah, $1 million man.
$1 million man, that's it.
That's why NASA, they had them spacesuits. That's a replica of the new body. A body that's able to go out and navigate through space. All right, come on.
It says, verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war.
Yeah, the Lord ain't gonna have an AR-15. He ain't gonna have none in his hand. Yeah, go ahead.
But only I saw
that Esau blessing, that attachment, a sword, had to be something given to you. We gonna be the sword, the new body. We gonna be that. We gonna be the sword ourselves, pretty much. We don't have to lift up nothing except that rod of iron. Just that's symbolic, if you will, the rigorous rule of the kingdom of heaven. Nevertheless, we gonna be that's how Yahweh is. Remember when they came to Yahweh, they all went backwards. Yeah, he just spoke the word. I am he. And you probably say, he was probably pissed like, it's me. You get tired, you frustrated, the cop pull you over. You might, and I said, I'm not promoting that. I'm just saying, just trying to give you I was like, yeah, man, what? Like, I'm tired of this bullshit. And that zeal, all of them went back, man. All right, come on.
But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it were a blast of fire.
Right. The Lord commanded that blast of fire to go forth. Go ahead.
And out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests.
Which is again the same thing. It was under the commands of Yahweh that blazes went forth. Go ahead.
And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up.
Right, and that goes into Revelation the 17th chapter, where the nations gathered together to fight the Lamb. Go ahead.
And burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude,
out of all those who were gathered together to fight Yahweh, go ahead.
Nothing was to be perceived.
Man, think about that. Some motherfuckers, you on found motherfuckers, there's a couple motherfuckers still, crawling, and the Lord zap the motherfuckers, they're gonna all just be done away with. All right, go ahead.
It says, but only dust and smell of smoke.
Right, because that fire is gonna dehydrate them, they're gonna turn into smoke.
Right, pulverized.
Yeah, they're gonna be pulverized. They show you that in War of the Worlds. Yep. And it was on camera. That was the spirit. Remember that camera fell? And that exactly the dude on camera. The world gonna see it. All right, come on. You gonna say something?
Yeah, it's gonna be just like white.
Yeah.
Say,
Well, Yahweh Shai said that. Go to that. Matthew the 21st chapter. And the 44th verse. You got that? Yeah, come on.
Yeah, Matthew 21 and 44. It says, and whosoever shall fall on this stone shall be broken. But on whomsoever it shall fall, it will grind him to powder.
See, that's Yahweh Shai. And that fall means you're going to come from an area. So whomsoever Yahweh Shai fall upon, you're going to grind you to powder. That's those lasers, man. Right? And it sounds like it's out of sci-fi, but guess what? What you're going to find out? Reality is actually stranger than fiction. See, what we telling you is stranger than what Steven Spielberg and Monster. All right, come on.
says,
Oh, that was it on there. Come on.
It says, when I saw this, I was afraid.
Yep. See?
Afterward,
So after this, meaning this is all the chronological order. Come on.
Afterwards, saw I the same man come down from the mountain and call unto him another peaceable multitude.
Right, and that's dealing with us, man. So that's the ones who the Lord going to deliver. But that's pretty much it. Anything else out there? I mean, I don't even know the time. I just kind of feel we've been running. And, hey, that's the time we in. It's a beautiful thing. Time is moving forward. Yahweh Shai promised that. This is for our sake. What's that, Matthew 24th chapter? The Lord promised, for the elect's sake, he said, that's not for the sake of you niggas out there. If you trying to get a record deal, you need all the time you can get. All right, so with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory
to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Kakadash.
Double honor to our teachers, the head apostles and elders, great millstone. Shalom to the fellow laborers, and as always, you believers. Till next time, shalom.
Shalom, PTA, Abba, soon.
Very soon.
Boom. F to you higher ups.
You monsters.